Okay, so now that we have getter and setter methods, and now that you thoroughly um, understand how, and I'm sure you do, why exactly these fields should not have to be, but should be private. Now it's time to talk a little bit about exactly why do we need setter and getter methods, and why do we need assessor methods in the first place. Now here's why. I already told you the reason is because we don't want to allow other programs to have direct access to read and to set these fields. We want to go through a criteria, and like I said before, just like you're not going to tell everyone what your phone number is or what your social insurance number is. In order for people to get that information, they have to go through a criteria or an algorithm, right? You're going to give your phone number to your friends, your acquaintances, but you're not going to give it to a total stranger. And the same thing with your social insurance number. You're going to give your social insurance number. You're going to give your social insurance number up if a set of conditions have been met. Okay, so by using a getter method, okay, a getter or an assessor method, what we can do here, okay, is we can set the conditions that must be met before the data is released, right? And we can set that here, okay. And same thing with the setter method. Okay, with the setter method, we can set the conditions or create the algorithms. I'm going to spell that wrong. Well, that must be met before this field is set. Okay, so set the conditions or create algorithm that must be met before this field is set, and we said that right here. And this is basically the entire reason why we have setter and getter methods, so we can set these, so we can custom create these conditions. Okay, so make sure you understand getters and setters. Very, very important. Now you notice here that we have a way of setting the name F field. We have a way of getting the name F field, but we don't have a setter and getter for the balance. So I guess we got to get started. Now, that's a lot of typing. That's a lot of work to do. So now that I've shown you the hard way to do it, let me show you the easy way. So click on source, click on generate getters and setters, and when we do that, you have the you have your fields up here that do not have getters and setters. And what you can do here is you can you have a few options here, which is really cool. And you could set it as a public visibility or private visibility, or I have no idea what synchronizes. And you could even generate the comments, which is pretty cool. Let's generate comments here, see what it does. So click OK, and there you have it. All right. So I changed my mind. I don't like to generate comments. So go source, generate getters and setters. Don't generate the comments. And I want to generate the getters and setters for the balance and the last name. And here we go. Okay, so here's the code that it generated for me. Very nice. So now I have a getter for the name L field. I have the setter for the name L field. I have a getter for the balance field and setter for the balance field. And now I can go back to my program here, and I can use them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a setter. Use a setter for last name and balance. Okay, so I'm going to g1.set. Okay, so I reset. So using my list here, I'm going to set name last. I'm going to set it to Leah. Alright, and go g1.set. Can again do that. So I hit set balance too, and she's going to have $1,000. Okay, so there you have it. There's my setters. Okay, so boy, we got a long ways to go. So that's basically a whole bunch of information of assessor methods, getters, and setters, why we have private fields as opposed to public fields, and then how, and if they're private and it can only be accessed from an instance file, well then how do we access them? How do we set them, and how do we get them? How do we change them? So from here, and also very important, we talk about the use of the this keyword. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to clean things up a bit because things got pretty messy. So I'm just going to decide not to comment these things here because they're pretty obvious. And what I'm going to do here is delete my comments, and it's up here. I mean, the methods or behaviors are named so well that I really don't need comments, and I already commented this entire section. These are the assessor methods, the getters and setters. Okay, so that that coding is pretty neat and tidy. Now I'm not really using this stuff here, so why don't I just kind of minimize it here? Okay, now let's clean up this coding here. This is slightly messy. So what I'm going to do here is here I create the object, and here I'm using my setter object. So I'm just going to change this comment to use setter objects to set field properties for this object. Okay, so I'm going to set the first name to princess. I'm going to set the last name to Leah. So it's going to drag this up to here. Set the last name to Leah. Set the balance to 1,000. Okay, I don't need this comment anymore, or I don't need this anymore. And here I'm going to use the getter method to get the object field. So I got the first name, and let's go plus space plus g1 dot get name last. All right, plus space plus g1 dot get balance, and that's it. So let's go run our project, and here we go. So what I'm seeing here as the output is what I printed down here. I'm basically using the getter methods to get each field. Okay, and the getter methods are are getting the properties that are associated with this value. Okay, so I'm getting the properties or field that are associated with this object, and this object depends on, this object is basically what I used to call it, which is G1. Okay, so in the next little bit here, we're going to talk about encapsulation of data, but not before we talk about constructor function, because this is still a little bit too much work for me. Not that I'm not that I'm lazy, but I do like to do as little work as possible. So, but I'm not lazy. So just a one little detail in code structure. This is this line is a little messy for me. If I were a beginner programmer, I might get confused in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this up and watch. I'm just going to go like this. Okay, tab it, and then I'm going to start a new line here, like this. Start a new line here. Okay, so I'm taking use of my white space. Okay, I'm lining up my objects and my function calls, and so I mean, to me, this just looks a little bit better than having it all in one line. Okay, so there you have it. So what we're going to do here, it's a little clean up here. I don't want this comment. Okay, I don't really need this comment here. Okay, so here's my coding. And again, so when we come back, we'll talk about constructor methods, and we'll talk about collaborating objects and encapsulation.